Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Tales with TR, episode 235A. I'm your host, Terry Ryan Jr. Gotta say the junior around here in Newfoundland because senior is senior. And to be honest with you, most people around here in my neck of the woods, if you said Terry Ryan, I still think most would probably point to him and say, well, you're talking about TR or Terry Jr., or you're talking about senior. But if it was just Terry Ryan, it would be him, of course. Now, if you're not from Newfoundland, you probably wouldn't get it. But my dad, of course, was a vibrant name in the community long before I existed. The community being Newfoundland. My dad's from Grand Falls and moved in to town, as they say, the town, which is anywhere around St. John's. Yeah, so anyway, many stories. I'm sure you know. Follow Terry Ryan Sr. around still. Anyway, good to be with you guys. Awesome time. I was in Oakville a few days ago with my guest. So my guest, 235B, coming up later today or tomorrow, is Alex Penner. So Alex Penner, well, he plays Palmer on Shoresy, first of all. So he really looks the part. Sue Hunt, you guys check it out. I mean, I'm sure half the people I'm talking to right now know exactly what I'm talking about. If not, you haven't seen Shoresy. Fair enough. I think you should watch, though. I really do. If I wasn't in it, I would. If you're listening to this podcast, you likely enjoy hockey or sports or chirps or whatever it might be. The hockey culture, for sure. I mean, 90% of my guests, even my guests that aren't hockey players, example, Dave Whitty last week, still knowledgeable hockey fans. So I would think most of you, if you haven't seen Shoresy, you're going to like it. And once you watch it, you'll see that Alex Penner, a.k.a. Palmer, I think does a great job playing a villain-like character. And he just looks really intimidating. And he's a really interesting dude, played all over in the minors. Didn't get up to the NHL, but fought many tough guys who did and did well. Like I said, you can have a storied career, but not play in the NHL. And hockey, I think, lends itself to that as much or more than other sports because the minors are so, so many guys play in the minors. I don't know. I don't know every sport like the back of my hand, but I know, say, football. I don't think those NFL teams have minor league teams, right? And then, I guess I don't want to be disrespectful to the CFL. You can't get a gig in the NFL. You'd probably go for the CFL. I don't know. There's those indoor leagues. I don't know, like world football. There are things overseas. I mean, I don't think it's anything. I know it's nothing close to the NFL or the money or any of that, but neither is hockey really. But, hockey, I mean, Jesus, I can go the ECHL alone. Newfoundland Growlers played in last year. By the way, we're getting the Growlers back. I'll get into that in a second. Yeah, I mean, there's the American Hockey League and the ECHL, and those are normally there are exceptions, but those are affiliates of the NHL. But that's two full, if you want to call it AAA and AA. And then you got like the Central League, the international leagues that's still going. The Southern Pro League, the Federal fucking League. Every country, it seems, overseas. So many leagues. I mean, we can go to Australia. You can play pro hockey. I don't know why I just said that like it's more amazing than the other countries. I guess, I associate Australia with far away from North America where hockey got its origins in time, space, weather, all of it. But I know I get a lot of listeners from there, so thanks to you guys who are listening right now. But anyway, hockey has, like guys enjoy playing in the minors. I would suggest it to my buddies. I remember, having the Montreal experience, but going, look, I got up, but some of the best years I had, some of the most fun, some of the closest friends I had, I mean, in my life that are still my buddies. You guys see all kind. I mean, I'm on here every week with them, right? They're these guys come from the minors. I've got friends up top like that I played with. I often talk about. I've had on here Shane Corson. We'll get him on again soon. I have to talk about Darcy Tucker was my roommate. I mean, all these events that I do. I mean, I'm doing them with NHLers that I'm, and it's not just guys you play with. I mean, Matt Burnaby, Brad May. These guys are buddies. Ali Afraidy. It's a hockey community, man. I got up so wish I'd played more games and stuff. I often say that, but outside of that, so I've got a foot in the water up there. I met like people that are, so I'd met some of my idols, even if it was only a cup of coffee, and I knew them when I went down to the minors, and then when I, as life trudges on, and we make friends, enemies, and the like. It's just a lot of mine were, from the NHL. But even if you don't get up, I mean, more from the minors, because that's where I played the most. But like, even if you don't get up, a guy like Alex Penner, man, it's just everybody I talk to, I come across as a story, pretty wild one. The guy, he liked to party, he liked to play, he liked to fight, he'd be there for his buddies. I got that the first day he walked into Shoresy, he walked in the dressing room, and he just seemed like I identify. You walk into a new team, and even though he was walking into an acting world, we're all hockey players, and we're actually in a hockey dressing room the day I met him. So I guess where art imitates life, that was the case. But right away, I took a liking to him, and I figured, at some point I'll get him on my podcast. Now, I was going to do it right off the hop, but I figured let people absorb this guy, like see him in Shoresy. And he's came to the NHL All-Star game with me last year, not to obviously play, just to kind of take in the festivities. We just spent a few days in Oakville he's a Boilermaker now, amongst other things. But I played hockey with him and his buddies in Easter Seals Charity Classic. So that was a lot of fun. Thank you to Alex. Thank you to the Boilermakers. And like I said, we'll have Alex on real soon for you guys. And I'm just going to answer some questions and shoot the shit. So question number 1 from Kristen. And Kristen is in Sault Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie. Shoresy fans will also know the Sioux. And what was I going to say? Oh, my buddy Brendan Brooks from there. I often talk about the Sioux, and I don't bring up Brendan. Brendan, I know, is listening. He listens to every pod, and I promised you I'm going to come on yours. And I'll do that real soon, my friend. Brendan, look into it, folks. He's one of the fastest players I've seen. Speaking of guys, I don't think he got up for an NHL game, but an absolute beauty. And what a hockey player. You know what? I'll have Brooksy on again soon. We played inline hockey on Team Canada in 2004. There's a lot of stories surrounding that. Anyway, Kristen from Sault Ste. Marie wants to know, hey, Terry, do you think Anthony Stolarz can win the Vezina Trophy? Big Leafs fan. Okay. It seems I'm often talking about the Leafs, Habs, Oilers. And so for those fans out there from, I don't know, the Columbus markets, Nashville, St. Louis, shoot me a note on Twitter. I'm going to have a website soon, and I'm going to have some help, and I'm going to have like a site for my podcast. I mean, like an Instagram account and TikTok and all that. I got to get someone to help me with it because now it is a mess. And a lot of you send messages, man. I don't see them for like months. I'm sorry about that. The best chance is on Twitter, not in the messages, just like public, right? Because then I'll like get back to you, and other people will see it, and they'll get that. Because I find I'm answering messages all day. Send it to me on one of the platforms. Hopefully I get it, but I'm not trying to single out. The point was Canadian teams or anything. It's just what I'm doing, right? I got to watch every Oilers game. I mean, I should, as I comment on the Jason Gregor show on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so, by default, I'm watching all those games, and the Leafs are always coming. I mean, I'm in Newfoundland, so you're getting Leafs Habs games most. And, and there's a huge fan base, especially where I'm living. And the people that listen to my pod, most people have questions about those teams. So I really should probably make a point of answering others, and there are some. But honestly, try Twitter first, and then, if I don't get back to you, shoot me a note. Well, Terry Ryan 20 on Twitter. I'm saying, post it or whatever. Send me a DM if you must. And on Instagram, same thing, Terry Ryan 2020. Same thing. My inbox is a fucking mess. But send me the message, and I hope to get to it. And if it is a question about this, about hockey, and what you want it on the pod, I'll try to do that. Anyway, sorry. I also ramble, and there's a chance I will never get to your question, and we're just going to talk about nothing for 20 minutes. It's always that chance. So, Kristen, of course, I think he can win the Vezina. I mean, any healthy goalie in the NHL can. You might laugh and say, well, so-and-so's a third stringer for Nashville or whatever. I don't want to get specific because it's not the point. He can't. Well, he can, though, because Anthony Stolarz, if you had said he would be even in this position at any other point in his career, I don't know. I mean, even he won a cup, I know, last year, but he didn't play very much. Right? He was the backup to Bobrovsky, who is one of the best in the NHL, one of the best really of his generation. You're going to be delivering cups and making all that money. So you didn't really see him much. But I honestly, goaltending I find is so, God, like, I don't know what the word is. It's hard to be consistent because a lot of things, it's just reactionary. As for a player, you're often like proactive because you have the puck, right? If you're going to score your score, yes, of course, things need to go right. And you could have bad luck 5 games in a row and just not be able to put the puck in the net. But I find with a goalie, though, really, because you could let in 5 in a game and lose 5-1, and it looks really bad. But even if they're not your fault, you're going to get shit on, right? And numbers usually even out by the end of the year, but someone's going to have, like right now, maybe Anthony Stolarz is playing way above himself, right? You don't know. I don't think so. I think he's pretty proven, and I love the tandem that Toronto has. Anthony Stolarz is like 6'5" or 6'6", I think. So there's not much to shoot at, and he seems pretty agile. And I think, goalies have come out of nowhere. I won't say often, but frequently for sure. And it's tougher to get a chance, I find, if you're a goalie, you're coming up. You could be like, if I'm the 4th left winger in the Habs system, that means I'm on the Canadiens, right? If I'm a goalie, I'd be the backup in the minors, right? If I'm the 5th left winger forward, there's still a chance I'm in Montreal, right? Maybe there's injuries, or maybe they just want to carry, you always carry a few extra, right? I mean, I was there for almost a full year. I only played 4 games. There's extra guys practicing. I was a left winger. What was I in our depth chart? I don't know. 6th or 7th. I was still in the NHL. If you're the 6th goalie, you're in the East Coast League, if not on your own somewhere. Really. So, and I know what people will say, it's a lot of teams carry 3 now. And I know all that, but still, do the numbers still. I mean, when I played for those that are even remotely close to my age, or you wouldn't even have to be, if you're in your late 20s, 30s, you would know Jose Theodore. So when I played my last year in the Habs system, 98, 99, was it 99, 2000? I was up and down, and our goalies in the NHL were Jocelyn Thibault and Pat Jablonski. Jabber was like a journeyman backup, good guy, good goalie, but teams were signing him to be a backup. And Jocelyn Thibault was younger, probably 3 or 4 years, maybe 5 years older than me, but at the time, early 20s and getting his shot. And in the minors, we had Jose Theodore, we had Thomas Vokoun, and we had Mathieu Garon. And 3 of those guys ended up being NHL All-Stars shortly after. And you could make an argument. I mean, were they better than Thibault? I don't know, put Joss down. Joss did the job. But I think 3 of them rose, like their peak in their career was probably a little higher than Jocelyn's was, I think. 'Cause, I mean, Theodore won the MVP of the fucking league, I think. At least the Vezina. And I mean, like, pretty quick after he got up. Thomas Vokoun was lights out. I know he was up for it, and put in a lot of great years, especially with Nashville. And then you had Guerin. I think he was an all-star with the Oilers, I think. Anyway, right? So, and we had Vokoun in the ECHL for a large part of that year because we wouldn't go with three. We'd haul him up to practice here and there and then send him down. So, and I used to look at them and go, Jesus Christ. I used to go of them, I guess Guerin was probably, no, Vokoun was probably fifth, even though we all knew, I mean, he was a deadly goalie. It was like, an embarrassment of riches to have these guys. But, we would often just send Thomas down or to get some reps in the minors. And in the minors, we're in the minors. We would go from the AHL, send him down to New Orleans. You know what? I'm going to look at that as I'm answering. Now, Kirsten, I know what you're asking, and I'm sorry to defer from the question too much, but it's a hockey thing, and we're talking hockey, and I'm just trying to point out anybody can get hot, first of all, and second of all, there's all kinds of goalies that are consistently great goalies that just don't get an opportunity, or when they do, the puck might, you might get your shot, man, and you don't even play bad. The puck just goes, it just finds its way in, and unfortunately, you're sent down. There's a great goalie we played against, Adam Monroe, with the Shoresy. We had a Shoresy Classic, right? Well, 4 of the 5 games came down to an empty net one way or the other. But the game in Toronto, they beat us, I think, 11-5. And we're trying. There's no hitting, obviously, and the fights are put on. And fights weren't planned, by the way. They weren't planned. After the first one, Nasty and McCarty put on a show in Detroit. So I often get that question. I was going to get to that later, but anyway, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. They weren't planned. When that happened in Detroit, I don't know what Nasty Marasty was thinking, but I was thinking, okay, now everybody else is going to feel ripped off if they don't get the fight experience from a Shoresy game of all things. It's not like we're, it's not like our movie is about a piano player. Our TV show's about fucking hockey and everything that goes with that, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And, there's a lot of fights. Shoresy's pretty violent. So when that happened, I don't know. I think Nasty was thinking, everybody should get the same value maybe. I don't know. I didn't talk to him about it. But I'm glad that everybody got to, because my point is that wasn't scripted or anything. We were just going to go out and play. We weren't going to do anything that was quote unquote planned. But anyway, those things happen. So even though they weren't hitting each other all out, they were still, they were throwing pretty good. And anyway, point is, we played against a guy, Adam Monroe, man, and we had over 60 shots. Really, there was a shot clock at all these games and everything, and it was actually a pretty good pace. All hockey players, it was way better and faster than I thought it was going to be. And I was playing defense, just taking chances. I mean, how many? Because they're still NHLers, right? Even, oh, fuck, man, there was all ages. Fuck, I mean, Ian White scored the winner in Detroit, and he burned me. He's my good buddy. I was pretty happy about it, actually. It was great to see Whitey. Wasn't happy he burned me, but I was just happy. Good to see him and all that. But anyway, we at this Adam Monroe, man, it was fucking lights out. And he had a stint with Chicago. And look, I don't know, man, you see goalies. I've seen worse goalies play a longer time in the NHL. I think Adam played 21 games, but he's known as to be lights out in the minors. And he really was. I'd heard of him, and I retired right when he was coming in. But he's not much older than me. I was done in my early 20s because of my ankle. But I stayed on the scene and playing senior and everything. And guys are coming in, and you still go to games and you talk to people. And I remember just hearing about this guy, and sure enough, man, and we put it on most of it, you're going in, you don't want to take a whizzer up by someone's ears like a clapper. You're coming in, you're trying to play the game. And really, I don't remember many slap shots and everything, but you want to, you're getting close, and sometimes you try to score. But I'm telling you right now, 10 minutes in, it was 6-0 Leafs, and we couldn't do anything about them. We were out shooting them, and I went in, and I joke sometimes, but I know how to score goals, and NHL or not, I'm not saying that I would score most, or I'm going to be Austin Matthews, but I shot in the minors against all kinds of great goalies. I practiced more than anything in the NHL, but I'm used to shooting on them, and once in a while one will go in. You can put an NHL goalie in there, 60 odd shots, we're going to get a few goals, right? And I'm not just saying me. I'm saying Jordan Nolan and fucking Penner or Nasty. We all played pro hockey, right? Some of us might not have. If you look at John Morasti, you won't see many goals. It's because he was hired to fight. Well, look at him in junior. He can shoot the puck. Brandon Nolan's a fucking 30-goal scorer in the American Hockey League. Give him a breakaway in the NHL. I mean, all these, he's going to fucking score the odd one. I'm saying we could not fucking score. I got in behind the D a couple times and fucking just made a move that, a go-to that's like 3 out of 5, right? And Jordan Nolan, I mean, he's fucking, that guy can snipe. He's underrated. His stats weren't inflated because he played on some teams that needed him to be third, fourth line. But I'm fucking telling you right now, that guy's a great hockey player. And Dolo and Goody and even Keese is a great skater. Got in alone. We're shooters, we're hockey players, and Adam Monroe was lights out. But he came in, and who knows what happened. But he probably didn't stink it out. He just, there just wasn't a lot of room for him in the NHL. He got there, he didn't stay. Remember the guy in Ottawa? What's his name? Darren, the Hamburglar. God, Hammond. Was it Hammond? The Hamburglar, they called him. He came in for 20 games. He could do no wrong. Even he's turning this way, looking, and he's not even, the puck's over here, and it's still, people were missing empty nets and hitting his elbow, and he was kicking stuff. He was playing well, but he also was getting lucky. And that can happen, right? So you just never fucking know. But over the course of a full year, usually the cream rises to the top, and they're all good, if not great goalies, right? So especially if you're in the zone and you're like that and you're a big guy, and the Leafs are a pretty good team. It didn't show the other night against the Devils, but they've been all right defensively. And they got guys like Tanev back there now. When McCabe comes back, it'll really help. But they think, again, that Jersey game was an outlier. I think they were down 18-1 at one point shots on net. I think, of course, he can win the Vezina. I think, what's the tandem? I forget, but whatever the tandem, I think they're in a good position for that. Joe Sabual and Anthony Stolarz. If Wall doesn't get hurt, I'm not convinced on that guy that he's not going to. He's anyway. But that being said, it's still really early, Kristen. It's we're not even at Christmas. What are we at? 25, 28 games. That's still really early in an 82-game schedule, right? We could be 28 games from now, and you're still just over the halfway point, right? And they would have to keep this up all that time. I've got no reason to think that Wall or Stolarz is going to shit the bed. But are they going to keep up this level of play? Anthony Stolarz, I can't think of one bad game. And that being said, what's Wall? How many has he played? I don't know. And he's probably like 4-1, 5-3, or he's got a winning record. I don't remember either one of them playing poorly. I don't remember many bad goals. Think of this last year. And the same thing is to be said for Samsonov. He came in and, he'd play great and then he'd play awful and you couldn't trust him. But I think, wasn't he, or Jack Campbell was an all-star a few years ago, right? I think Samsonov was at some point. Samsonov was a first-round pick. I mean, coming out of Russia. I mean, he must have. You don't usually pick goalies in the first round on potential, right? Like, I can see taking a big defense or anybody for that matter, a forward. What's that, Lawson Krause guy? I think he went 8th overall. Is that a familiar number? 8th overall, first round. Anyway, I think he did. If not 9th, I remember keeping my eye on him because they said he couldn't skate. He reminded me of me a little bit, although he's a bigger, better me for sure. He's bigger and he's he was mean in a game in the O at the time. It's not that long ago. Maybe he's probably mid-20s. He stood out for being extra rough, and he wasn't stupid about it. I just remember watching him and taking a liking to him. But I remember they drafted him on potential, and I was thinking, in other words, they didn't expect him to come right in right away and get numbers. But eventually he became a consistent 20-goal scorer that's big, great in the corners, good defensively, can be relied on, good in the room. I think he's an example of a team picking on potential, and he grew, he evolved into exactly what they wanted him to be. I don't think they expected him to be up for the Art Ross Trophy. They didn't expect him to get 5 goals a year either. Come in and be a damn good player and an even better leader, and use your attributes to your advantage, and that's what he did. And there's defense. What's the Myers? Is it Tyler Myers? The big, I think he's 6'6" as well. Same thing. I could see him going high, but that's potential more than anything. He was good. I watched him in Red Deer in the Western League. He used to go to games in Red Deer, and he'd come in. And he was that was in the late 2000s. I remember having an eye on him. But it was probably more potential than anything. He was already good, but we could, with any luck, when he filled out, he was going to be great. But you don't often take the goalie on that. Of course, potential is part of it. But with a goalie, you've got to see some lights out action. You got to prove, I'm not going to look at a guy and go, I bet you his reflexes are going to get better in a few years, right? But you can kind of tell a player that, okay, he looks like Bambi on ice, but he's going to fill out, and then he's going to be, maybe be better in the corners. Ryan Clough is one of those guys, right? Draft on, if he's good now, but wait till he fills out. Potentially going to be, the bang for our buck is going to be up here. We're going to draft him here, and he's going to elevate to this level. Again, with goalies. So now I'm not saying that every great goalie got to get drafted high. I'm just saying for a guy like Samsonov to go that high, right, that he was already a great goalie. He went into Washington. Look, his numbers aren't that bad. Toronto, they flipped out for 15, 20 game stretches, he would have some good numbers. There was times that people loved him. So it wouldn't even surprise me if a guy like that got hot again. I'm sorry, Kristen, that the answer went so long. And really, I could have just said yes. I could have said, Kristen said, do you think Anthony Stolarz can win the Vezina? I could have said, yes, he's playing really well and he's on a good team. That could have been it. Instead, we went on a 30-minute rant about hockey and life. Okay, wait, let me get one more question. Thank you, Kristen, for listening. I apologize for rambling, but you must like it at this point if you keep coming back for this kind of torture. Okay, this one comes from Jake, who's a big Shoresy fan, and Jake lives in Toronto. He's from Oakville. I consider that like the same place. No offense. It's just all so big now, man. Hamilton right up to Toronto, which I love it. I enjoy it there. But, hey, man, if you're Toronto, Oakville, it's all cool with me. It's all, anyway. From Oakville and moved to Toronto. Anyway, here we go, Jake. And thanks for watching Shoresy, by the way. I don't mean to laugh at that, by the way, Oakville, Toronto. It's just in Newfoundland, that sounds funny. Like, we would just, like, people from here would go, like, what are you doing by? I'm moving up to Toronto. Like, and Toronto is anything remotely close to Toronto in Ontario. If people are going to Kitchener, definitely say the same thing. I'm not exaggerating. What up, boy? Nothing, by going back up to Toronto now. I gotta go work for a couple of months. By. So yeah, where you staying in Toronto? Oh, out in Kitchener Waterloo area, right? So it's all Toronto. Even I'm not saying we're idiots. They know it's Ontario, but if you were going to Sudbury or Sioux or something, I think then maybe you'd say. Even then, though, I swear to you, a lot of Newfoundlanders going to Sudbury, which is like 3.5 hours away from Toronto. A lot would say Toronto. It's just like, yeah, you're going anywhere remote. We would certainly say fucking Oakville. Guaranteed. Like, I don't know one person that would say, bye, I'm moving up to Oakville. They would definitely say Toronto. I'm not saying that in a bit. And Toronto, not even Toronto, Toronto, Trana, Trana. Yeah, I'm just laughing at it, man. Anywhere from fucking Peterborough would be Toronto. Yeah. Any city within 3-4 hours. Yeah, going up to Toronto. Anyway, oh, you wanted to know which video games I'm playing at the moment? Yeah, so I honestly, I'm so busy. Really, I wouldn't know where to begin, Buzz. I get up in the morning and I usually have like a video to do a cameo or whatever, right? Or something of the sort. And or sometimes I have 3 or 4. So, and those things come in and there's like a timer on them. Some people get them a 24-hour delivery, which got to be done obviously immediately. And most, I think, you get 4 days. And it just as soon as they order it, time starts ticking. So I'll get up and make sure that whatever orders I have, because people pay good money for those, and I really respect that, and I thank you guys. Um, so I plan like the day around that. Now, depending on if I have Penny Lane or not Penny Lane, if I have her, which is 4 days out of the week when I'm home. But I mean, her mom just lives up the road. That often changes. But I'll drive her to school, and then then I have to go back and get her at 2 o'clock. I often get her for lunch at 12. Her and her friends. I'll take them to Starbucks or whatever. I mean, I like seeing her when I'm here. Every day of the week, I skate, except for Saturday, I skate at 5. Every other day, I skate at either 11 or 12. So it's like a noon hour skate. And that keeps me in shape. I guess you could say I don't have to skate, but I don't want to go to the gym. I want to get my cardio, and I do it by skating. I'll do some push-ups and sit-ups on the side. That's my workout. That's it. That's what I like to do. I'd rather keep my heart healthy than have big biceps. Now then, on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have the Jason Greger show. And that takes planning because there's always 3 guests, and then I have a rant, like Ryan's rant, and that's 20 minutes. So it's like writing a fucking thesis every week, man. Like, I agreed to do it. I'm like, sure. And sometimes you just talk like this, obviously, but an actual rant is some subject that I need to talk about, and it usually needs a beginning and a meat and an end, like anything, getting fucking paper or something. So or I tell a story or whatever. So it's a lot of prep with that show. And then I got my pod. So I do one like this myself, which I often come on and don't have planned, but it seems that just answering a few questions takes an hour. But anyway, whatever it is. So then I have a guest. So Penner, even though I know him, I got to do some research on Penner. So research on everybody. I mean, so I get a coffee at some point during the day. I just go. I take. To be honest with you, I got a one hitter. I don't smoke full joints so I can get wrecked. I smoke weed almost every day. A lot of times it's CBD, right? It make me think clearly and settle down a little bit. And even if it's THC, though, I just have like 1 or 2 puffs, and I have some coffee, and that puts me in a great mind frame to read or write or whatever. So that's usually I'm doing my research, or I'm writing when you see me writing those poems on Cameo, that's what I've done. I've had a puff of weed and a sip of coffee, and it locks my mind, just elevates it a little bit, that I get slightly more creative and energetic. So it's good energy as opposed to just chaotic energy. So there's those things, and now then there's a lot of people ask me to go on their pods or whatever, so I try to figure it out each week and get that done, whatever it might be. Now I live on my own, so I've got to like feed the pets and like get groceries and keep the house clean and everything, and that might sound like not much, but it's a lot, right? So I have to juggle around. So every day, and this is just, and you can imagine then how many messages I answer. Messages takes me 4 hours a day. It's a real stressor. And most just say like, give your balls a tug. They're just supporting or whatever. And then, but I'll try to get back to everybody, but then they get back to me. So like my DMs and Instagram is like the first 100 are just people that I've only, most of them I haven't even met. It's just like online, and I don't know, because it's an ongoing conversation, and I can't be a prick and go, listen, I don't know what to do. So, and then there's like, I got to get back to a lot of other people, and then there's friends in between that. Then there's opportunities. Can you be here? Can you do this? Can you? And then I want to get some merchandise out there. Like today, I got a meeting with CRA about an HST number, and it's just like, so I get up, man, and I don't have a minute. The whole day is fucking crazy. I'm used to it, but it's crazy. So at night, when I shut off, I shut off. Tonight, I'll be going to the Jason Greger show. I'll be doing it till 9 p.m. my time. Penny Lane's here with me. Every night she's here. We watch half a movie, one, on a school night. So we watched Christmas Vacation, the first half last night at 9. I take my phone and I chuck it, man. I just charge it. It's over there. I have a few numbers if that'll ring if it's an emergency. If not, I don't look at it for the most part. And, we'll watch that till 10 o'clock. She'll get ready for bed and do her thing. And then, I go on the PS5. And that's or I'll listen to a record or something. But 2 of 3 times I'm going on the video game. And I get lost often in the campaigns, right? And right now I'm playing Star Wars Outlaws, and it's a great game. I don't know if it's the newest Star Wars, I believe. And I just ordered Indiana Jones. If you got Xbox, it's out now, but it's coming after Christmas on PS5. But all those games I love, the Assassin's Creeds, the Uncharted's, the Lara Croft ones, Tomb Raider. So they're all, you know what I mean? Like even the one I'm playing now, if you know the video games, Star Wars Outlaws, it's a lot like Tomb Raider. It's just like obviously spaceships versus tombs or whatever. It's an adventure. So those kind of games, Call of Duty and everything, I never really got into. I know they're great, but I play with my buddies when I got it, and they've got thousands and thousands of hours in, and I just couldn't shoot fast enough. I was a sitting duck. I'm not very good. As far as communal games, I love playing the baseball, and right now I got hockey, obviously. So that's a thing. So my buddies, myself and John Daw and Ryan McD, who plays Michaels on Shoresy. So we got a team going in the EASHL. We're pretty good. And I've been playing that. Yeah, I've been playing that, man, I don't know, since the 90s, really. There was a period in the early 2000s I didn't get those games. And it's pretty much the same controls and everything. So I'm all right at it. Dawsey can really snipe. Ryan's pretty good. So yeah, we go on, and I usually try to get a game in before bed. I mean, it's nice and relaxing and takes your mind completely off of any stressors that you might have during the day. What other games do I have? My daughter and I play Wheel of Fortune on there. It's good for board games. A lot of people that have the video games don't realize that. You can get all those. You can get Monopoly if you want. Scrabble. There's all kinds of games on the PS5 that, and I use it as a computer. I don't even use, man. I got cable and I barely use it. I turn it on the odd time if there's a big game or something, but I have Sportsnet now, and most of the games are on that anyway, the app or whatever. So I'm pretty much, I got my PS, man. I just go to YouTube through that. So I'm my whole TV basically is being controlled through the video game. And like I said, each night I play one of those. Baseball, I like, but I find, and I'm all right at baseball, but I find when you play the good teams, the good players, it's like 1-0 or 2-1. And I just find keeping my eye on the ball for 9 innings. And it just my shoulders and everything are tense after, because I'm in that, waiting for the pitch. And then, yeah, I don't know. I'm tense. It takes a lot out of me to play a game of MLB. I mean, geez, it takes a lot out of me. Might be the wrong, but it's definitely I feel it. I almost need to breathe. I need to relax after a game of MLB online. Hockey, not so much. I mean, it's just more smooth, and I don't know, something just waiting for that pitch and trying to hit it as it comes in, and you can be an inch. It's so realistic. Just reminds me of regular baseball. Fuck. You can just be a smudge, a millimeter, a centimeter, definitely, sometimes a millimeter off of hitting the ball where you want, and it's foul or it's a grounded to third, or I have so much respect for baseball players that are consistent. Like Juan Soto, that greedy fuck, with extra $5 million, he would go back to the team that he just played for. Something almost comical about that to me. But say what you want, he's consistent, right? He's consistent. Ohtani, Mike Trout, even Judge. Judge goes in spells where he's not, but he's fairly consistent. And I find that, even to play in the major leagues and to hold a spot, you have to be somewhat consistent. But baseball players that don't slump a lot, that every year are up for the batting, I'm like, wow, like fucking crazy how good you have to be. And it's not all obviously just eye on the ball. It's eye on the ball, and then some of them, like, it's going with a pitch, right? And choking up a little bit, and learning to swing slightly different. Now I'm going to go with the pitch, and I'm going to ride it over into the opposite field rather than hit it on the ground to second base, whatever. So all the respect, and even that goes back to, Kristen, your first question there. I have no reason to think that Anthony Stolarz won't be consistent. And I just think there's so many goalies in the league that I'm not putting my money on him now, or I think it's really extremely premature. But is he good enough? Yeah. And I think that as of right now, Toronto's goaltending situation is the best it's been in my memory. And it's pretty exciting because both guys have never played a lot. So we're either going to see them thrive with the extra games played. We're either going to see them at some point give in to the pressure. I hope that doesn't happen. I don't think it will, or we're going to see one of them get injured because they can't handle it. But God, I'm just not sold on Wall not getting injured. But hopefully he doesn't, for your sake as a fan. And I think both of them are solid goaltenders that give me no reason to think that they can't do big, bright things for the Toronto Maple Leafs, not only for now, for many years to come, and great deals considering how well they're doing. That's 45 minutes of nonsense, folks. I'm going to take off, but Alex Penner's coming real soon, and you're going to love it, I promise. Thanks for listening to me ramble. I really appreciate it, and have a great Christmas, everybody, and a great holiday. It's not always easy this time of year because many people have just lost somebody, or they lost somebody in the past at Christmas. And so just be aware of that. And that's probably most people. And some hurt more than others. So be aware of that. Anyway, if you're downtown St. John's and you want to go out for a beer or a Diet Coke, whatever, you want to see George Street, you want to be happening, why not check out Trinity Pub? Why not check out Rob Roy Confusion, the Martini Bar, Greensleeves, and of course, the Bull and Barrel? You want to have a bite to eat? I would look no further than the Loose Tie, Blue on Water, of course, Wedgwood Cafe, which also do catering. Peter Wedgwood Cafe. Ryan Power on Rope Walk Lane is just a fantastic place to work out power conditioning, strength and balance for the body and mind. Ryan Power at Power Conditioning. He's making a difference in a lot of athletes' lives, a lot of young, old, and the like, but I'm telling you, if you're a young athlete or you are the parent of a young athlete and you're right here in St. John's, Ryan Power is your man. Torbay Road and Kenmount Road. Those are two places that you'll find Mr. Lube here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. Live, laugh, lube. Carpet Factory. I love the Carpet Factory. Pippo Paint Relief, the paint sticks just don't quit. Go to pippopaintrelief.com. See what all the fuss is about. True Hockey is awesome. True Hockey. Take what's yours. I love my Muggsy jeans. I absolutely adore my Muggsy jeans. The fit, the comfort, the stretch. They're like pajamas, especially if you're traveling. Muggsy jeans. Check into it, folks. I'm not kidding you. Thanks for listening. We'll be back in just a few hours, really, with Alex Penner, Palmer from Shoresy. Thanks for listening, folks. I'll catch you guys on the rebound.